Hello again. Let's continue with the negative form. Negative form of present simple needs an auxiliary word. When present tense is expressed in its negative form, the verb denies something about the subject. Denies. What's denies? Denies means that something is not happening, that something is not done for the subject by the subject. We always use the auxiliary do or does and the infinitive of the verb. For example, if I say I wash the dishes or I study English, I study English is an affirmative sentence because when I say I study English, I affirms, I do the action. But in negative, I deny, negar. I deny the action. And for that reason, I need an auxiliary that is do or does and the negation that is not. So in negative sentences, we have this order: subject, auxiliary, not, verb, and the complement. Five elements. So I do not clean the room. You do not clean the room. He does not clean the room. Remember the pronunciation. Do, does. Do not, does not. Now, that's the long form. We can use that long form when we write a formal document. But in normal life, in our everyday life, we tend to use contracted forms. For example, I don't clean the room. In the contract form, we tend to blend or join the auxiliary do and the negative not. And we don't say do not, we say don't. I don't clean the room. You don't clean the room. When we are talking about the third person, the auxiliary changes. So does not. And the contracted form is doesn't. He doesn't clean the room. She doesn't clean the room. My sister doesn't wash the dishes. The dog doesn't eat salchipapa. Remember, it's important the order of these words when we are saying negative statements. Maybe in Spanish it's not important, but in English it's very, very important and mandatory to use this structure for negative sentences. To practice a little bit more, we have this exercise. What's the idea? Try to connect and try to identify the actions and complete the sentences with negative forms of these actions. Look at the chart, look at the images. Number one, play. Number two, run. Number three, swim. Number four, cook. Number five, play. And number six, play. Also play. Remember, play is not only play a game, because you can play football, you can play volleyball, you can play video games. But play is also tocar un instrumento musical. So I play the guitar, I play the piano. So in number five is play an instrument, a musical instrument. And in number six, it's play a game. So complete the sentences. Now, number one is done for you. Number one, play. The negative for he is, as you could remember, for he is doesn't. So Javier doesn't play cards because you are talking about he. But when we are talking about we, you, or they, the plural, we use the normal auxiliary. Do not or don't. Use the contracted form. Okay? Now, this exercise you are gonna fix it later. Let's continue with the present simple in questions. When we are talking about questions, we need to remember we have two types of questions. We have yes no questions, and also information questions. But what is interrogative? When expressed in its interrogative form, the present simple, the verb is used to ask something about the subject. You need the auxiliary also. Remember, questions and negative needs the auxiliary do and does. Do for all the people, all the pronouns, and does for the third person, he, she, and it, and also the infinitive of the verb. The structure also change. The order of the words also change. In yes no questions, we use the auxiliary at the beginning of the sentence. Do I play football? Do you play football? Does he play football? As in negative, we only change the auxiliary when the subject of the question is the third person. So instead of using do, we use does. Information questions are those questions that we don't answer with a yes or no. For example, the previous example, do you play football? Yes, I do. Or does she play football or soccer? No, she doesn't. Those questions are made to answer with a yes or no. But information questions are different because they are not looking for a yes or no. They are looking for a different information. For example, where do I play football? Where? Remember that question? Where do I play football? And the answer is I play football at home, or I play football at ITSA, or I play football in the stadium. It's where. It's not looking at yes or no, it's looking for a different information. And remember, we need to review. Look for question words like where, when, who, what, etc. Information questions start always with a information word like where, who, or what. After that, the auxiliary, then the subject, the verb, and the complement. It's important that you always order the words in this way. In this example, in this exercise, I need you to complete the questions. All these questions are just yes no questions. So we need just the auxiliary at the beginning, and then the subject, the verb, and the complement. Number one is done. Does. Why does? Because the subject is he. So does he like coffee? Does auxiliary, he, subject or person, like is the verb, and coffee is the complement. The four words for a question, for a yes no question. Now, in front of those questions, you need to practice the short answers. Short answers for questions are with yes or no, comma, then the subject, he, she, you, I, we, they, and after that, the auxiliary. For example, if the short answer is affirmative, I say yes, I do, or yes, she does, or yes, they do. Yes, comma, subject, and the auxiliary. But for negative, we tend to use contractions, like in example number one. No, he doesn't. No, she doesn't. No, I don't. No, they don't. No, you don't. Remember this and complete the exercises, please.